night and I said, without Googling anything, what is the first thing you think of when you hear the word Kabbalah? And they all said Madonna. And they all said red bracelet. And they all said related to Judaism and Madonna. So we'll figure it out tonight. We have guests with us. And maybe I can ask you to introduce yourself. You look like you can do it. Sure. Your name and then where are you from, who do you represent?
Okay, my name is Nikki Lopez. I'm with the Kabbalah Center in Los Angeles, and I'm an instructor there.
You're an instructor. And you're here just for
I'm
a week,
here
or?
for a couple of weeks. We're putting together a big lecture on Monday with Yehuda Berg, who's the director of the Kabbalah Center and the best-selling author of his new book, The Power to Change Everything. So we're here putting the lecture together, teaching classes.
So welcome on air, and you're 107, Nikki Lopez.
No, I was born and raised here.
Oh, neat. Oh, sige. Marunong ka mag-Tagalog, Nikki?
Konti lang.
Okay. Kasi kami rin maging English namin konti lang. So I guess somewhere in between we'll understand each other. And
I'm Dominic, and I'm part of the study group here in the Philippines.
And you are really based here?
Yes, born and raised, but I don't look Filipino.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say. And your last name is Chinese too?
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
you're a walking Benetton ad. Okay. Dominic, we have two people who represent the Kabbalah Center. When you say the Kabbalah Center, was it right for me to say the Kabbalah Center of the Philippines, or is the Kabbalah Center just one center and then you have branch? I know, I'm sorry, that's me. Okay, there.
The Kabbalah Center has many branches all over the world. In the Philippines, we're a very active study group.
Okay.
So there's no actual center here, but the center is represented and we host classes at different people's houses and locations.
By center, you mean there's no physical structure where you
Exactly,
actually
there's
meet?
no one building, but we meet in different places. Tonight we had a class at AGB. We host the intros at fully booked usually, and we're hosting Monday's lecture at the Rockwell tent.
Okay, I'm hearing a lot of static. Sorry, Audrey. Is that your energy? or my disbelief? No. Well, the reason why we invited, for this episode, what is Kabbalah, because I always think it's very healthy to figure out or to get to know a different set of beliefs, very different from ours or very different from what we commonly know. I always think there is wisdom in that. And for as long as we both agree that you're not out to convince me, and that I'm not out to convince you either, I think it's just important that I'm super curious. I'm very, very curious. Are you? Let's figure out Ernest. Ernest?
Oh, yes.
Because Ernest was actually raised in the Iglesia faith, is that right?
No, actually, I went through so many, like, Catholic, and then there's the Anglican part, and then the Baptist faith, and then eventually got baptized sa Iglesia, which I'm not practicing at the moment.
See? There we go. See, wonderful people are here. So let's figure this out. Of course, I did a little bit of reading before this, but maybe you would like to give me where to start. Like, what is Kabbalah, the word? And before we start, let me start with the question emailed to me. Kabbalah, the word means receiving.
Right, that's right.
So let's start off with this question. What is it that you receive?
Everything.
Okay, that finishes our show. Thank you very much. You just ended our show, Nikki. Okay, let's go through everything. What is it exactly you receive?
Kabbalah, the word comes from the word lekabel, which means to receive. But what Kabbalah is it's a presentation of what the spiritual laws of the universe are, so that we can make sense of the randomness and the chaos that's in our life. Everyone lives every day, and there are physical laws in the universe, like the laws of gravity, the laws of thermodynamics. And if you walk around and you say, well, you know what, I'm Christian, so therefore I don't believe in gravity, but you decide you want to jump off a building, it doesn't mean that you're not subject to its effects. What Kabbalah presents is that we're not trying to tell everyone that they need to study. We're not here to convince you that you need to come here to learn, but what this is that these are what the spiritual principles are of the universe. If you would like to study, there is a group here. This is who we are. This is what the spiritual laws are. And the center is open for anyone who has a desire to learn and connect. And it is a universal wisdom. It's a universal system. And so the laws of the universe apply to everyone, regardless of their religion, their nationality, their background. In the same way, gravity, the sun, everything applies to everyone. So do the spiritual laws that are presented and that Kabbalah puts into a system.
When you say spiritual laws, are they enumerated on text, or I mean, is it? Sorry, I really don't know.
No, that's a good question.
Yeah.
There are many spiritual principles that Kabbalah is based in. For example, there is the law of cause and effect. Learning that each decision, each thought, every action in our life has a specific consequence. So if you learn what the consequences are of each action, you learn how powerful actually each action you have is, and how powerful you are, and how to take control over your own life. Instead of being an effect to the traffic, to the chaos, to the pollution, instead of being a victim to everything that happens in your life, you learn how to empower yourself and to make the changes you want to make in your life. And in turn, how to change the world around us.
I have a question. Well, there are certain situations, and there are certain people I know, me included, several moments of my life, where I have completely no power over things and decisions, and I come up with the excuse of human nature or force majeure and etc. How do you take power if it's something like that? I mean, something obviously not beyond you. Because you sound like we can take the reins all the time. You sound like I can always take control, but there are certain situations that I really cannot. So how does Kabbalah allow me to deal with that, or equip me to deal with situations like that?
Well, absolutely. That's what we learn, is that the times when we actually think we don't have power are actually an illusion. And we learn how to see past the illusion of when we feel like we're not in power, when we feel like we're not in control, and to see actually what the bigger picture is. Why is this happening? Because nothing is actually random in our life. Everything serves a greater purpose. And if you can understand what that is, you can make sense of everything around you, and you don't have to live by frustration and chaos and the things that people experience on a daily basis. There's no reason to live like that.
Agree. Oh, Dominic, do you have
Yeah.
something to add?
Well,
I'm sure you do. Because you've been nodding. Agree.
Well, me, I'm basing it all from my personal experience. Ever since I started,
Which was how long ago? Sorry.
I started studying maybe about 2.5 years ago.
And prior to that, you were raised Catholic?
Catholic.
Okay.
Then I just reached a point that I felt like there seems like there's more to life.
Okay.
One thing that I really liked about it is it explains the books, explains life in such a simple way, and it gives you the tools that actually everybody knows. You just don't do it, or you don't. You're not aware of it. That's one thing I think that Kabbalah did to me. Like the first day, it turned on the switch of me being conscious of things around it, not just existing. So yeah.
If you just tuned in, you're listening to Dominic and Nikki. My name is Yang. This is Rock Ed Radio, and we are talking about Kabbalah and what is it, things we think we know about it, and they're here to clarify things. So I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad I asked you about what you were believing in prior to picking up your studies in Kabbalah. Somebody asked, what is it that you found in it specifically in Kabbalah that was not in any of your previous faiths?
Well, I guess I was at a point in my life, like I mentioned, that I was looking for something, and it came to me. And one thing, like what Nikki mentioned, is really being conscious and knowing that you're actually in control of everything. You always have a decision. You always have a choice of either to do left or right. It may not even be right or wrong, but how to deal with that situation. You can either get frustrated or you can see it as an opportunity. So these are the things that it really, it's a switch that's turned on, and then you realize like, wow, this really works. And it encourages you to actually ask questions and to put it to the test, just like what Nikki was saying about gravity. They're not going to ask you to jump out of the building, but you know, that type, those are the, yeah.
That's the focus. Now, somebody, if you want to join the conversation, go ahead and text NUMSG space to 29107 or tweet us Rock Ed Radio or 0917-734-6742 if you want to ask questions or add on a comment. I'm sure you're very open-minded people, and I'm free to read everyone's comments. Right?
Yeah.
Do you want me to censor it? Are you sensitive? No. It says, I don't even know who John Maxwell is, but anyway, it's starting to sound like a spiritualized John Maxwell seminar, according to One Like Hell 28. That's, yeah. And I don't know who John Maxwell is.
He's an author.
He's an author.
He's an author.
Spiritualized. With everything you're saying, it seems like